apologize in advance for all of the barking you're going to have to edit out of that video.
Hey Sue
And Megan,
the Spine Breakers.
And we are back in our usual filming location, which is awesome.
We're also back drinking a beer, although it's not a new one, but it's an old favorite, Fat
It's a
Tire.
staple. Yeah, it's a staple.
This is my first beer in like probably 3 weeks because of all my kidney nonsense and other nonsense. And I still haven't got my stent out, but I think it's okay for me to have one beer.
I don't think one beer will hurt.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have like 10, but one beer probably.
Also, I was reading up about like, you know, how to prevent kidney stones and blah, blah, blah. And it said beer and wine were actually like pretty low risk for kidney stones. Although it did say alcohol was not good. But maybe they're low enough ABV that it's
okay.
Not too bad as long as you're not, you know.
Just don't like pound a fifth of tequila or something.
Yeah. So, I think beer is all right. It also said coffee was low risk.
Which is awesome.
So I was like, yes. So, we're here finally doing our third challenge video for the If You've Got It, Read It challenge.
We are. And so, I think we've read more than 3 challenges, but we've been slow to make videos for them, so
we haven't been able to see each other in person.
Yeah, we went like
for
2
a while
months without seeing each other in person, which was fucking lame.
But the challenge we're doing today is read a book that's not a typical novel.
Yes.
So short story, poems, essays,
collection of some sort. I was going to read Nocturnes by John Connolly. But the first story in it was terrible. It was like a perfect example of all the things that men do wrong when they write horror. So I gave that collection up, and I decided to read Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde instead. And I really loved it. It was really empowering. It was also really like enlightening and eye-opening. My dogs are still low-key freaking out, so I'm trying to like power through. I'm trying to just like ignore it and power through, but they're like definitely low-key losing their shit right now. But yeah, so I loved it. It's kind of intimidating to talk about it because, you know, it talks a lot about, you know, what it's like to be a Black woman, and she talks a lot about like inclusivity and feminism, and feeling like a lot of times white feminists are very dismissive and exclusionary toward feminists of color.
Yeah, and this was wasn't she doing this in like the 70s?
I think 70s and maybe early 80s, but definitely like many, many moons ago, but still issues that are relevant now. So yeah, I mean, it's
feminism then was definitely like all about white women.
Oh, totally.
And it still sometimes can be, but I think it's more inclusive now.
I think so. And I think there's definitely at least a sphere of feminists who make an effort to keep it inclusive. I think there still definitely is like privileged white lady feminism floating around out there. But I do think that there's at least much more of an effort to make feminism inclusive and to try to hear other voices. But she had a couple of pieces in there that were like pretty fucking cool. She talked about like how anger can be constructive and useful, which I thought was interesting. And then she talked about trying to think of the exact word. It's like basically using sensuality creatively, or like tapping into sensuality to have a fuller experience of the world, and thinking of it, I think, beyond the sexual.
That's interesting. I read that collection last year. I listened to it on audiobook.
It's really good. I did like, it's heavy, so I had to take, you know, breaks between. I could read 1 or 2 pieces and then I had to take a break and then I could return to it. But yeah, she's brilliant. You should read it, especially if you are a, you know, white lady feminist.
Right.
You should read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do remember there's a lot of things in it that I think, you know, as a straight white woman, you don't necessarily think about. It's always good to have other perspectives.
Totally. That's all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a hard turn. Talk about some aliens. Because I read this short story collection called Encounters with Aliens, and it was compiled and edited by George W. Earley. And it was first published in the 60s, 1968, and then this edition is from 1978. In the foreword, George Earley talks about, or in the editor's preface, he talks about how, I guess, at this time he felt like there was a lot of science fiction writers were ignoring like UFO sightings and things like that, sort of sweeping them under the rug and not taking them seriously, and he thought that they definitely should be taken seriously. They also, this edition also has an introduction by Ivan T. Anderson, and he kind of talks about some of the same stuff, but the stories themselves I actually really enjoyed, and I found them to be like fun sci-fi stories. And some of them were actually, I thought, like, quite good. And I was a little surprised because, like, based on this cover, I was not expecting much, honestly. I just thought it would be, like, a silly sci-fi collection. But there's some pretty good stuff. And it's broken up into two parts. The first part is about UFO sightings, and then the second part is, like, actual contact with aliens. But it's all, like, aliens coming to Earth.
Okay.
And yeah, I really enjoyed them. Unsurprisingly, one of my favorites was by the only woman in this collection.
Yeah.
But it's called Minister Without Portfolio. So that one, Minister Without Portfolio by Mildred Klingerman, was like kind of a very wholesome one about this little old lady who like goes for a walk and she happens upon these aliens, but she doesn't realize that they're aliens, and so she just has this like very sweet conversation with them about like their family, and like, you know, just has a nice little wholesome conversation with them. And then it turns out that she saves humanity because they, with all the war and violence, they thought, well, it's better to exterminate this violent race. And then they come across this sweet little old lady and was like, actually, we'll spare you.
That's really nice.
She saves all of humanity. So that one was really cute. And then there was another one that I actually enjoyed as well, which was pretty much the opposite of that, but it's called Albatross by Mac Reynolds, and it's where an alien visits Earth, and we shoot it out of the sky, and it turns out it was bringing a message of peace and how they were going to help us be peaceful, loving species, and we fucked it up.
I feel like that's the more likely scenario.
Probably. But yeah, there was several stories that I read this like probably 2 months ago, and I still like remember several, like clearly remember the plot of several stories in it. So it was a good collection.
Yeah,
I
it sounds like it.
It's pretty solid if you can find it anywhere. I don't know, I just randomly got this at a used bookstore, but if you can find it anywhere and you like alien stuff, I think it's a pretty decent collection.
Check it out.
Oh, and I didn't mention the first story I'll mention is actually an essay about this person, Arthur W. Orton, his theory that the first chapter of Ezekiel in the Bible is actually describing him being visited by aliens. I don't know if I really believe that. Some of the evidence because basically it's like he'll put a passage from Ezekiel and then he'll explain what he thinks it really is describing.
Okay.
And some of it was kind of like, I can see that, but then there was other things that like, that's a stretch. And then there was like maybe a couple things that he just like didn't address because he didn't really have an explanation for it. So I think it, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But yeah, but then the rest of the stories are all fiction. So yeah, it was good. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Sounds very cool.
So it was a pretty good alien collection.
Nice. So yeah, pretty successful reads for that challenge.
If you've read either of these, let us know your thoughts.
Let us know if you're doing this, if you got it read it challenge, let us know what you read for your non-traditional book.
If you've gotten to that challenge.
If you've gotten to that challenge.
Yeah, and let us know how you're doing in general. We kind of haven't been able to make the videos as consistently as we wanted to, but our next one will probably be about our shortest book on our shelves because I still haven't finished the longest book challenge. And I think I was trying to read Infinite Jest, and I'm about like 100 pages into it, and it's just, I think it's going to be a no-go for me, at least for now, maybe forever, I don't know. It's kind of one of those where it's like, I think David Foster Wallace is he was a great writer. Problematic human, and definitely like dude bro lit.
White dick lit.
Yeah, which is annoying, but I do like his writing. But this book, it's just like, there's flashes of brilliance, but a lot of what I'm reading is just like, I don't fucking care kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's an over 1,000 page book, and I feel like maybe it doesn't need to be that long.
Probably not.
Maybe it could have been cut down a lot.
Quite a bit.
But we'll see. I might try to finish it at some point, but I don't think now's the time because my brain is not there at the moment.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on in the world and in my personal life.
So
yeah. So I might pick up The Luminaries instead, which is like over 800 pages, so it's definitely
still really long.
A chunker as well, but I hope maybe it'll be more compelling because I think it's like a murder mystery type of thing. I might be wrong about that, but yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at on the challenge, is I think I've completed 5 challenges, but I skipped over that one.
I feel like I've completed 5 or 6. I can't remember. I've got them highlighted in my notebook.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so we hope you're all doing well and having fun with the challenge.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, this beer is fat iron.
It's good. Yeah, it's an amber ale. Solid amber ale.
Easy drinking. It's a good staple.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it, I guess, for us today. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.